अस्सलाम वालेकुम डियर स्टूडेंट्स। आज इस टॉपिक में हम डिस्कस करेंगे assumptions and limitations of law of demand. Law of demand. हमने ऑलरेडी लॉ ऑफ डिमांड को डिस्कस किया है that the law shows inverse or opposite relationship between price and quantity demand, other things remaining same. Those other things other than price, that means income of the consumers, weather, tastes, preferences, fashions, price of related goods, they all remain same. First, I will take what are the assumptions of law of demand. Assumptions of law of demand. Then we will discuss the limitations of law of demand. Every law in social science is based on some assumptions. That means suppositions. Which things we keep constant and which things we take as variable. So variable means those things which change over time, and constants are those which do not change their value. So Marshall has kept some things or some factors constant while propounding this law. What are those things which Marshall has kept constant? So Marshall says that if there is change in those factors, the law may not apply. Only and only the law will function when those things, the things or factors other than price will remain constant. What are those things? What are those assumptions? What are those factors which Marshall kept constant? Then this law will function, or this law may work in the market. First of all, first assumption which Marshall kept constant is the income of consumers. Income of consumers. Marshall says that if the income of consumers remain constant, the law will function. The first assumption, first supposition is income of consumers remain same or remain constant. If there is any change in income of consumers, the law will not function. This is the first assumption, first supposition. Second is price of related goods. Price of related goods. Related goods, we have already discussed. These are substitutes and complements. That means price of related goods remain same or constant. So second assumption is price of substitutes and price of complements remain constant. Number third assumption is that the tastes, preferences and habits of consumers remain same. Of consumers remain constant or same. So third assumption is there is no change in tastes, preferences and habits. Tastes we have already discussed when we discussed the factors affecting the demand. अगर कोई आदमी या कोई group of consumers, they have taste in a particular commodity, वो लोग उन चीजों के हैबिचुअल बन जाते हैं. वो बताते हैं खाली मुझे यही चीज चाहिए, उसका प्राइस क्या है क्या नहीं है. तो that remains same. Preference, we do have preference upon some goods in the life. We are habitual of some goods. For example, I should not go to say smoking goods. So habits, they remain same. So this is third assumption. fourth assumption is that there is no shortage of goods. No shortage of goods. Shortage of goods. Shortage of goods. There is no shortage of goods. If people expect that in future there is shortage of goods, they will consume or they will purchase more and more. Sorry, not consume. They will purchase more and more at present without caring prices. Whether prices are high or prices are low, they will not care about prices, but they will purchase because they fear that this good may become scarce in future. Scarce in future. So these are four assumptions, and the fifth one I will quote. It is weather. Weather. If there is no change in weather, remains the same. Weather remains the same. Weather remains the same. If there is change in weather, we have quoted already this example. In winter, people purchase more and more woolen clothes, more and more sweaters, more and more heaters without caring prices. They purchase more and more these fans in times of summer without caring prices. So in that very case, the law of demand does not function, or it does not work. So these are some of the assumptions. Now I will take some limitations. We will discuss some limitations or weaknesses. Limitations of law of demand. What are limitations? Limitations of law of demand. Limitations B means weaknesses. कहाँ कमजोरियाँ इस law में है? इस law में कहाँ कमजोरियाँ है? That means those cases, those situations in which this law does not work. Some of the limitations we may discuss. This is a technique that we may change these assumptions into limitations. Assumptions ही limitations बन जाते हैं. जो चीज मैंने assume किया है या मार्शल ने assume किया है, उसने जो चीज constant रखी है, अगर वो factor apply होता है, वो same नहीं रहा है, उसने अपना value change किया है, that becomes a weakness. One of the assumption which Marshall kept, that income of the consumers remain same. If income of consumers change, that means change in consumers' income. We may write down it, change in consumers' income. So this becomes one of the limitations. If there is change in consumers' income, अगर कोई consumer per month 5,000 कमाता था, if the income of a consumer is 5,000 rupees, and for example his or her income changes abruptly from 5,000 to 20,000, he will not care about price. He will purchase more and more. For example, in case of windfall gains, sometimes windfall gains, अचानक किसी के जेब में पैसा आता है, पता नहीं चलता है कहां से पैसा आ गया, तो वो उस वक्त प्राइस की तरफ नहीं देखता है. उसकी फैमिली जो है या खुद वो है, वो ज्यादा खर्च करता है ये देखने के बगैर कि क्या इसका प्राइस कम है या ज्यादा है. तो उस वक्त मार्शल कहता है कि this law will not function, and this becomes the great weakness in the law. The second is change in price of related goods. That means if there is change in price of substitutes and complements. For example, I will give a sample example. If there are two goods, for example, we have Colgate, which is a toothpaste, and on the other side we have Close-Up. These are substitute goods. If price of Close-Up suddenly falls, and price of Colgate remains the same, and we are discussing the demand of Colgate. If price of Close-Up falls, the people will shift from Colgate to Close-Up without caring the price of Colgate. That means price of this demand of Colgate will suddenly fall, not due to change in its price, but its price remains the same due to change in the price of the close up. Here the law of demand does not work. That means the second important limitation is change in price of related goods. Third is, if there is change in tastes, preferences, fashions, and habits. If there is suddenly a change in the tastes of the people change from one good to another good due to the fact that the good second or good Y is tasteful than good A, the demand for good A will fall or rise without change in its price. Here the law will not function. If there is change in the preferences of the consumers, change in the fashions in the market, a new good becomes fashionable in the market, people will leave the purchases demand of old goods without caring their prices. If there is change in the habits of the people become habitual of a new commodity or a new good, they will prefer it, they will consume it, they will purchase it more and more without caring its prices. Here the law will not function, law will not apply. The important one is in case of perishable goods. In case of perishable goods. In case of perishable goods, the law does not function. Perishable goods are those goods which are not durable, which do not last for a long period of time. For example, we have vegetables, we have milk, we have fruits whose age is very low. The shopkeepers are not able to keep it for a long period of, cannot store it for a long period of time. So in case of these goods, the law of demand does not function. They have to sell it more and more at decreased prices. So in case of perishable goods, this law does not function. The most important one is, which is always discussed, that is in case of giffen goods. Very important type of goods. There are so many types of goods: normal goods, inferior goods, giffen goods. Here in case of giffen, this is a kind of inferior good. Giffen good is a kind of inferior good. I have a plan to have a full lecture on these giffen goods. Whatever these goods were discovered by Robert Giffen, who was a statistician from England. He discovered these goods. These goods are those whose demand falls when their price falls. Their demand rises when their price rises. But in case of normal goods, when price falls, demand rises. When price rises, demand falls. But these goods shows opposite direction. They go positively towards the change in prices. With their demand go positively, change positively due to change in their with respect to prices. When their prices increase, their demand increase. When their price decrease, their demand decrease. That means they have they show positive price effect and negative income effect. They have positive price effect. The price effect is positive and the income effect is negative. So in case of given goods, the law of demand does not function because they have positive price effect and negative income effect. So these are some of the limitations or weaknesses where law of demand does not function. First is change in consumers' income. Second is change of price of related goods. Change in tastes, preferences, fashions, habits, etc. Fourth is in case of perishable goods, and the fifth one is in case of given goods, the law of demand does not function. Thank you very much. Viewers are requested to subscribe our channel by pressing the bell icon, and request again and again.